Hey, hello. How is everyone doing? Hope you're all doing okay. First things first, can you all hear me? Need to make sure you can hear me. Can you all hear me? You love the intro, Kwan? I was just listening to you. Thank you. Can you all hear me? First things first. Hey, Hair Organics, you can hear me. Hey, thank you. Right, I like the sound of that. So, guys, my goodness, this is it's going to be one of those interviews. Would I call this an interview? Conversation, whatever this is. So, for those of you who are new to my channel, my channel started as a result of leaving religion. I walked away from religion, and I was angry. I was angry. So this channel was birthed through my angry atheist face. I had to tell people that, look, it is all fake. It's all false. There's no truth to it, right? I had no clue what I was doing. I had absolutely no clue. But someone said something. They said, be a representative, right? Because when you think about atheists, you think about atheism, not many black people to begin with, and not many black women and middle-aged women, because I'm a middle-aged woman. Come on, I'm not young. So yeah, and here we are. But I will say, being on YouTube and TikTok has opened up doors I never thought possible. Things have happened that I never in a million years thought were possible. And this right here is one of those things. Meeting Sebastian and just hearing him speak and the impact that he is making, and just to have him here, it's a beautiful thing. Let me apologize. We started a bit late, but that's Sebastian's fault. I'll let him. I'll let him. He he'll take care of that. But guys, just get a drink, relax, just easy. And later on, if you've got questions, please, there'll be a time you can ask your questions to Sebastian or to myself. So right, and yeah, here we go.
Hello.
Hey, Sebastian.
How are you?
I am good, thank you. And yourself?
I'm feeling a little better. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be here.
It's been very heavy the last 2 days, hasn't it?
Quite, quite heavy. Just dealing with the reality of like the results of this kind of thinking, right? Just the reality of the results. And it's been really eye-opening, I guess, for me, and like just a new level of thinking, right, about how this affects people. Yeah.
So I love the subject what you were just talking about on TikTok. For those of you who are wondering what we're talking about, Oh, by the way, Sebastian, why are you late?
I'm late because that conversation was heavy,
It
and
was.
because it just kept going on, and I didn't want to exclude women from being able to share with me their experiences under their religious practices. I had so many people get up to tell me, I mean, different people from all over, different denominations and blah, 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 all telling this story of how they felt abused. And it just, it really, like I got physically sick. Like my heart started racing, my heart was burning. I was physically sick hearing some of this stuff. But I wanted to create a space where people could come and share that, get it off of their chest, and know that there's a community that wants to heal with them and help them heal.
Thank you. I mean, what you do is amazing. It is amazing.
Thank you.
Right. But so Sebastian, this is all about you. I am honored that you would just accept my invitation to be here. I particularly like talking to people who have left religion. I need to know how did you do it? What was it that did it for you? And where you at now? Those sorts of things.
Wow.
Everyone in my family is still religious. As far as they're concerned, I'm on my way to hell. They're worried for me. And so this online community, whatever this is, what we have, this is my safe space. This is the space where I can have these conversations, because when I turn this off in my life, there's hardly anyone that I can talk to about these subjects, right?
Right.
I remember my sister saying to me, my videos were sent to her. Someone sent my videos to her because they were shocked that I was an atheist. And my sister said, everything you said in your videos, you were 100% correct. She said, but I am not prepared to go down that rabbit
Mm.
hole.
Mm.
I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable with what I know. This is what we were taught. She says, I'm comfortable here. And I said to her, look, I'm not about changing your beliefs. If it makes you comfortable, because she said, I know if I go down that rabbit hole, I won't come out a Christian. And for
Mm.
her, she's just comfortable. She knows that there are things that don't make sense, but for her, it's just leave me here. I'll be all
Right.
right here. And
Right.
you know, I'm not trying to make her uncomfortable or make anyone in my life uncomfortable, if you know what I mean. No,
Right.
that's not what
Right.
I'm here for. If they do come out of religion, they do that of their own accord, not because I have instigated anything. And so, Sebastian, please tell us a little bit about yourself.
I am Sebastian Cole. I was born and raised in Birmingham, Alabama. I am the son of two preachers. I was pretty much as close to born in church as you could be without literally having a delivery in the building. I, you know, took interest in theology at a very young age. I took interest in music at a very young age. My godmother was the organist at the first church that I went to, so I started playing organ because she really loved me. Which kind of just as a side is another reason that I'm thinking about women in the church, because like there's so many things that I could accredit to women, right? Like my mother, my grandmother, my godmother, my high school choir director. Like these are women who, like my sisters, yeah, my girlfriends. Like these are women who really shaped me in a lot of ways. Like, helped me to, they taught me things, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, point being, from a very, very young age, I was, involved in church, and it was interesting to me. I thought I was learning things, and I quickly became like, singing in the choir. And so I got a habit of being out in front, being in public. Started preaching. I think I preached my first sermon at like 10. Just really taken to this. By the time I was 14, I was a full out preacher. I started a gospel rap group. So I was going around doing shows in churches. And around the age of, no, I had to be 19. When I was 19, my mom sent me this book. The book's called Yada Yahweh. It was an online book. I started reading it, and it kind of helped shape. It started shaping my perspective into more fundamentalist Christian. We started going to more like in non-denominational churches because I grew up Pentecostal. We started going to more like non-denominational CCM kinds of churches. That's where I met what I call Second Amendment Jesus. And it was more like Hebraic roots. So I started using words like Yahshua and Ruach and stuff like that. Because in my opinion, or from how I saw it, I thought that this book was real. I thought that this book was the truth. And I wanted to be as close to that truth as I possibly could. I wanted to refer to Jesus by his real name or, whatever. And so I went down that road. And eventually I realized that road seemed a bit racist. And so I ran into I kept studying, came across the Hebrew Israelite ideology. I became a Hebrew Israelite for a while. And then the more and more I tried to understand this as a concept, the more and more it just started to come apart. When people started to really ask me about the truth of the claims, I realized that I could not back up the truth of the claim the way that I thought I should be able to. And that was kind of the beginning of the falling away, right? Like just over time that began to just kind of break apart. And it was a slow process. It wasn't like one day I just woke up and was like, God isn't real. It was more that over time it just chipping away. And eventually I woke up one morning and realized that I just don't believe this anymore. And I think the last question that I asked myself before accepting I just don't believe this anymore is, what can I do with this? Right? If this is right, if it's 100% true, what is it that I can do with it that I could not do without it? And all I could come up with is go to heaven. And that meant it did me no earthly good. So I just put it down.
How long ago was this?
I guess it's been a little over 10 years ago now. A little over 10 years ago.
And when you came away, what was that like? What was that? How did that feel when you finally realized I no longer believe? I ask this question because for me, I experienced an existential crisis. I went there. I was, because I got rid of God.
Okay.
I got rid of God.
Okay.
That character that followed me everywhere, that character that searched my heart, knew everything I was thinking, everything I was feeling, everything I was doing, that character that was waiting to punish me at every single turn, that character that was in control, I finally got rid of him. He was no longer there. And now everything I thought I knew just fell apart. So I
Can I
was
ask you a question?
lost.
Can I ask you a
Please
question?
ask me whatever question.
Okay. Do you remember what your 3 favorite gospel songs are? If you could just name 3 off the top of your head.
Goodness. I can't think of any. Well,
If you can't, it's okay. It's okay. But I'll tell you
okay.
why I was asking.
I surrender. I surrender was
Okay.
one of them.
Okay.
What other ones? God, it's been a while now. I'll remember. Just give me a minute. I'll remember.
Take your time. Take your time. I'll tell you why I'm asking. Normally, you can get a pretty decent view of how people see their God through their favorite gospel music, right? Like these songs just attach to you, and you go, okay, I like that because it moves me, right?
Oh yeah,
And
Amazing Grace.
okay,
Amazing Grace is one of them.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
All right. And so I can kind of tell that you saw God as this all-encompassing, like, watch over thing, right? Like that literally watched your every move and was showing you grace by just allowing you to exist without his punishment. That oh, every time he did not punish you, oh, thank you for your grace, right? Okay. And I
Yes.
can kind of see that understanding of love and how you might have placed it on God. My understanding of love, all of my favorite gospel songs have nothing to do with what God does for me. They all have everything to do with what I do for God, right?
Okay.
So my favorite gospel songs are like their newer songs. All That You Want Me to Be by J Moss. There's this song by Kim Burrell called what, Here I Am, right? And they all have to do with like what I could do for God. So my relationship with God was very much about proving myself, like very much about like, I will do the right thing. Right, because I believe I will walk and I will work for you and I feel like that even in my relationships, like my human relationships. If you know me, you know that like if you need anything, I will step up to the plate. Like call on me, depend on me. I want to be dependable for you, right? So one of the things that, because that was how my relationship worked, or and I say relationship, you get what I'm saying, because that's how my ideology, my theology worked. It was a hurtful. Well, hurtful is not really the right word. It was imagine like doing a performance for your parents or something, or like you invite your parents to come see you sing somewhere, and they come and you do the best that you can, and they just don't clap for you, right? They just don't clap, right? It felt like that, right? Like man, like the things that I had gone through in order to be a good, and I'm not saying I was a perfect kid, don't get me twisted, but like the sacrifices that I made for the faith, the things that I had put off to be a good Christian kid, right? I felt like, oh, you're not even gonna clap for me. It hurt my feelings. Hurt my feelings, right? A lot of that came, and I know this is weird to put these things together, but a lot of it came through like, somebody might say, when I needed God, he wasn't there for me. It's not really like that for me. It's more like, it wasn't really like that for me. It was more like, okay, I'm going to do all this stuff to prove to you that I love you, right? What I'm asking you to do for me is just tell the truth. So when I start looking into things like the flood or, coming from two people and realizing that that wasn't true, I'm like, man, all this stuff I did to prove to you that I really love you and I really believe in you, and you couldn't even have the decency to tell the truth. Like, I'm not asking you to make a new flood. I'm not asking you to wake up tomorrow and flood the earth again so I believe you. I'm just saying, remember when you told me about that flood? You didn't have the decency to make that the truth. That really chipped away at me. That really, it bothered me. It still bothers me right now. Right? Because I don't think it's fair for God to be able to test you and try you. If I can't do it, I'm not even gonna try you like you try me. I'm not gonna put you in a bad situation to try you. I'm just saying, okay, you said something. The least I can expect it to be is true. Because if I can't expect that to be true, then I can't expect your promises to be true. If what you said about yesterday isn't true, then what you say about tomorrow is probably not gonna be true. So that began to, like, just over time break me down. I remember when I really, really, really realized I don't believe this anymore. I was at I was at a cheesecake factory I was at the Cheesecake Factory in Atlanta, right? And I'm sitting there, and it's me and my best friend in the world. We've been best friends since I was 5 years old. Since we were 5 years old, with every school together since kindergarten. This is my best friend in the world. And I was in Atlanta, and I was sitting at the Cheesecake Factory with him and another homeboy of ours that was kind of going through a deconstruction thing too. This had been going on for quite some time. We had tons of conversations about it. But we were sitting at the table, and I go, guys, I don't think I believe that anymore. And the crazy thing is my best friend goes, whew, me either.
Oh, how nice.
And I said, let me see how if I really believe it. So I had the waitress go get me a ramekin of bacon. Because I was the kind of Christian that didn't eat pork or shellfish or any of that. So she brought me a little bitty cup of bacon bits. And I picked that bacon up, Jesus. It's so dramatic in my mind. I picked that little piece of bacon up and I stared at that piece of bacon for a good 30 seconds. I don't know about this. When I put that piece of bacon in my mouth and chewed it and didn't feel regret for it, I was like, this is delicious. That's when I knew I didn't believe anymore. That's when I knew. That is exactly when I knew. But yeah. That was that experience. And a lot of times stuff like that happens. Well, for me, that was the opening of a door to start exploring information, right? So instead of it saying, I mean, I had some issues, right? Like I had some things I had to really deal with. I went back and started reading those stories again, and I read them completely differently, right? I read the story of Abraham without my devotion, and it sickened me.
Absolutely.
Right? But with devotion, you see it as like, oh yeah, God was trying Abraham. But if you take your devotion goggles off, you're like, yo, what is this?
So I'm sick, very sick.
Yeah. So going through that, I started to look at the scriptures again, right? Because keep in mind, I had been reading the scriptures. I used to teach, just like I go on live now. You can see I can talk. You can definitely tell that, right? And I didn't just get like this. I used to teach 3 Bible studies a week on a conference call. I did that for like 5 years. I started in the book of Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. We read every single word of the Bible 2-3 times over, right? So it was a habit to read the Bible. Like it's just a habit, right? But this time I'm reading it. This time I was reading it without my devotion, right? Without my dogma, without my theology. Just read what it says. And when I read what it said, I was like, man, I don't agree with any of this. And that's a part of deconversion that still that though I do not believe in the God, the image of God has not faded, right? And I think a lot of atheists, that's like point one, where you literally are angry with God, right? Because though you are not devoted to God anymore, there is still that being in your mind, right?
Mm.
Like you go from the like, oh, I'm mad with God. How could God, blah, 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 right? Why would God, blah, 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 right? And so you really are just saying, I don't like this being. I don't like this being. Then there comes a point where you start to accept, wait, it's not that I don't like this being. This being isn't real. I can't be upset with this being. This being doesn't exist. Right? So now I got to refocus that emotion. Okay, I'm not mad with God. God doesn't do the real. He doesn't do a real, right? Then it becomes, okay, well, I'm mad with this idea. I think this idea is bad. Then it becomes maybe I'm mad with the people that taught it to me. And then you come to a point, well, at least I came to a point where it was, okay, what am I going to do about it? Right? After being upset and being let down and going through my emotions with people and ideas, it just became, well, what am I going to do about it? And I decided that I would talk about it. I would talk about it, and I would open up, about these kinds of experiences and see if anybody agreed or disagreed. See if anybody was looking for a friend, like I was looking for a friend. Because when you grow up in church, that's where you make all your friends, right? When that's how you bond. That's you take summer trips together and you go to camps together and stuff like that. So when you come out of that, it's like, okay, well, where are my friends now, right? And so I was really thankful that my mom took that journey with me. My best friend took that journey with me. So I wasn't all alone, but we began to build new bonds.
Guys, for those of you that are thinking, okay, who is he? Listen, I'm just sitting here and I am in awe, right? I'm not one for celebrity. I don't do all the celebrity things. But listen, I've got a celebrity right here. No, don't do that, Sebastian. Don't do that. Because listen, he is one accomplished individual. Okay, I'm not sure you want me to use the word accomplished, because I'm sure you still have things you want to accomplish. But my goodness, I'm going to ask you to please tell us a little bit about just some of the awards that you have received.
Oh, wow. I'm a singer and songwriter and producer. I've been doing this professionally for about 12 years. I've won a couple Grammys. I've got billions and billions of streams to my name, millions and millions of sales. I probably sold about 15 million records by now. I've written for a lot of people's favorites. I've written for Alessia Cara and Fifth Harmony and Jennifer Lopez and Alicia Keys and Usher and Brandy and Coco Jones, and the list could go on and on. I've been around music for quite some time. I've worked with, Beyonce, Haley from Chloe and Haley, Chloe from Chloe and Haley, Lauren. I could go on and on. But that's just what I do for a living, and I've been really, really fortunate to write songs for people. I'm glad y'all like them. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I've got two of my favorites at the moment. The one with Alessia
Mm-hmm.
Cara, that's
Mm-hmm.
one. Um,
That's
it's
called
on
Stumble.
repeat. It's
Oh,
on
thank you.
repeat in here. It's on repeat, and the other one, the one about stretch marks.
Stretch Mark. Yeah, yeah. That's on my solo project. That was on the Gnome EP. I'm actually thinking about doing one more EP before I quit singing. So I might crank one up this year. I like to wait until I have something that I feel like is necessary to say before. Some people just write music to stay in the public, which is no problem with that. I like to do music because it's like I really have something I want to say. So
Apparent,
yeah,
apparently, you've done a song with Migos.
yep. Done a song with the Migos, with Quavo from the Migos.
Quavo. Oh, how
Yep.
nice.
I've done a song. I did a song that won me a Grammy on the U.S. versus Billie Holiday soundtrack with me and Charlie Wilson. Um, yeah, I sneak out there and sing every now and then. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't really talk much about that though,
I
but
know.
yeah,
I
I
mean, on not every time you do talk about it, but for this particular conversation, I mean, I want people just to have a little just a little idea of how important this is to have this conversation, you know. So guys, just give it up for Sebastian, just for everything that you have accomplished, because I can imagine being a Black American and just to have those accomplishments. I it must have been one tough, um, I don't know whether to use the word tough or hard, but how would you describe being in those spaces? Because it's not every day you come across a black man who is accomplished.
Really, being in the weird thing is, you kind of grow up hearing the thing about Hollywood and the industry, and I don't even use that word very often, but the industry, da 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 da. But my industry experience has actually been very kind.
Mm.
Um, the thing about this specific industry is there are no friends in it. I mean, there are some friends, but like it's not built on friendship. It's really built on what can you do for me, right? And so every day I just try to show up, and which is right up my alley, right? Remember, I just told you, all I want to do is show you I can do it, right? That's all I like, right? So it's right up my alley. I just get to show up and go, hey, I can do this. And you get rewarded for that merit. It's hard sometimes because you might write a song for somebody that you think is absolutely great, and they love it, and then they just don't put it out, right? And so you have those kinds of disappointments. But for the most part, walking into those spaces, um, I just have to remember why I'm there, right? Like, I'm not here to be a fan. I'm not here for anybody to be a fan of mine. I'm here to show, to help the artists tell their story. That's my whole job, is I help artists tell their story, right? And so it's a privilege and an honor to do that. And I never had to sell my soul to the devil to do it, by the way. Nobody's buying souls, just so you know. Um, yeah, but my job is just, to help the artists tell their story and to try to be as true to what's on their heart and mind as I can be. So, sometimes it's easier to do that depending on how open the artist is to telling the story. Sometimes it's not so much. Sometimes you just have to kind of retreat to, basic song one, and just kind of, we're going to write a song that makes people dance. But they normally call me when they're ready to get something off their chest. That's no matter. Yeah.
So does that inspire the music you write for them when you
Absolutely.
hear their story?
Absolutely. That I try to write. I mean, the songs that my favorite songs are the ones where I know we're telling a story, like we're telling something that really happened to that person. And we try to make it danceable or, singable, but I'm telling you a story that is an absolutely true story, right? Um, yeah, that's my favorite part of it is to try to word things in a way to where the artist knows that it is true to their story, but I don't give away too much of the story to the audience.
Right. So I've been in your in your lives, and there's one person who I see, she's there. She's very prominent, and that is your mom.
That's my buddy. That is my buddy. And one of the reasons that we're so close, I mean, there are lots of reasons. My mother's just a sweethearted human
Mm.
being, right? But one of the reasons that we're so close is because we've been walking together. Like, my mom got saved the year I was born, right? Um, she thought that was the best way to raise me, right? Like, my mom was only 20 when I was born, right? So, she was like becoming an adult. She, having me kind of shocked her into adulthood, right? It's a 19-year-old kid having a kid, right? And she did what she thought was the right thing. And the thing that I will admire about my mother, right or wrong, is that I've always known her to do what she thought was the right thing, right? So she raised me in that. And even as a kid, I remember, like a young kid, when we left our first initial church, she just said, man, I saw those people in that church and I thought, is that what you want to be? And I couldn't follow that. And I love my mother because she will follow her convictions where they lead, right? And that's why we left that church. She's like, I looked up there and it just didn't look right to me. I didn't want to be that when I got old. So she left. And she started teaching herself. She went to school. She got a degree in divinity, blah, blah, blah. She taught me Bible study. And as I was growing, she kind of like, oh, well, I'm tired of teaching, baby. You come do it, right? She kind of ushered me into that. So we would sit around and have theological discussions and philosophical discussions. My mother is the reason that I talk like this. Like, this is why this is so fun to me, because this is how me and my mom talk, right? So she was very, very influential and very, very motivating in my life, right? And another thing I love about her is because she will do what she thinks is right. She's not dogmatic. So as things in my life begin to change, as I began to see them in other ways, I knew I could trust to call my mom and say, Mom, this is what I'm thinking. What do you think about this? Right? Well, does this make sense to you when I say this? Right? And she'll go, well, yeah, I mean, that does make sense. Right? I don't know yet, but that's a good question. I think you should ask that. I think you should look more into that. Right. And so she basically walked with me through this whole deconstruction. Right. My grandmother too. That's even crazier. Right. My granny too, right? Like, she's like, yeah, baby, that makes sense. I mean, I see what you're saying. Right. And I'll walk with you through that. Right. And having those two ladies by my side, man, just to they not hitting me with my dad on the other hand, dogmatic. You're going to hell. You're not going to make it in, right? Me and my father do not speak because you're going to hell. But the transition into where I am now was much, much easier because I could bounce ideas, even when I didn't have a conclusion, right? Because sometimes, I do this literally on purpose, I call my mom and go, Mom, I don't know where this is going. I don't know what the conclusion of this is. These are just my thoughts right now about whatever. I don't know what that means. I'm not saying I've arrived at anything, but here's what I'm thinking right now, right? And she'll go, well, yeah, okay, that's where you are right now. Well, when you come to a conclusion, let me know what you think, and then we'll talk about that. Having that as just the best gift I couldn't ask for anything better than that. And that's why I talk so much about her. Amongst other reasons, she's just a great human being. Right? I'm a business owner. I own several different businesses, and I say I own them because on the paper my name is there. But my mom owns them. I mean, her name's on the paper too. Most of the time, I have to put her name on the paper because she does all the work. But my mom runs a restaurant, like a family sit-down restaurant, like a tablecloth restaurant, not a place where you come buy a chicken wing. We own a steakhouse. My mom, we had never run a restaurant before. My mom didn't know anything about restaurant running, but we are the only Black-owned fine dining establishment in the state of Alabama. My mama runs that, right? She had never run a restaurant before. What? Who cares? Why not run a restaurant, right? I have a bar. My mom didn't even drink till we became atheists, right? Right, my mom was. I got some apartments. My mom was like my construction manager, right? Like whatever I come up with, I go, Mom, I want to do this. She goes, okay, let's do that, right? Like, well, just tell me what you need me to do, and I'll go get that done for you, man. What? Just the best friend and the best business partner you could ask for, man. And I'm forever appreciative of that. But that's why I talk about it so much.
I just want to say thank you to your mom, because without her we won't have you. So we've got her to thank, and just to hear that she's very supportive of you, and very there was something I heard you say. You asked your mom a question.
Yeah.
If God told you to kill me, would you do it? Can you please tell us about that?
Again, I was saying earlier about how I began to look at the scriptures and take my devotion glasses off. So I'm reading the story of Abraham, and I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, this is crazy. But maybe I'm just looking at this wrong. And when my mother was a Christian, she was as devout as they come. So I called my mom. I go, Mom, if God told you to kill me, would you do it? And she said, hell no, babe. I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that. I couldn't imagine ever doing anything purposely to hurt you. And I said, yeah, Mama, I couldn't either. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, if God told me to hurt something, like if God told me to kill you, I would just have to tell God no. This is early in my deconversion too, right? Like, this is the beginning of things, right? I would just have to tell God no. Like that, there's no way on the planet. No, I just couldn't do that. I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that. Then I start thinking, well, why would a God ever ask someone to do that? And you know, the theological answer is, oh, it was a test to see if Abraham believed God. That's how you say it. It was a test to see if Abraham believed God. But well, if God knows everything, then he knows Abraham believed. Well, it was a foreshadowing of how God would offer up his son. Yeah, I mean, I get that. But what do you think that did to Isaac? Right? Like, poor Isaac. Right? Yeah. I know you can point to some greater good down the line, but think about what they did to Isaac. The next thing I got to like that was the story of Job. And you know, there was a test to see if Job really loved God. Yeah, I get that. But what about them 10 kids that got killed? Did you forget about those children? Like I know see, we gotta trust God through all things. Yeah, I get that. But those babies are dead. They don't get to trust God through all things. They're dead. And that made me realize how myopically we read scripture, right? We read scripture from the viewpoint of the winners, right? Isaac didn't die. Yeah. But his daddy took him on a 3-day trip looking for a place to kill him and burn his body. What kind of psychological damage do you think that does to a son? Right? Yeah, Job got double for his trouble and blah, 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 but Job lost his children. What kind of psychological damage do you think that does to a man? So we look at these kinds of things and we kind of put them up there as if they have no fingerprints, as if like, you know, God will move and it just works out. We just tied up all good at the end like a sitcom, right? Like, oh, everything worked out all right. But if these are real people, then real people have to suffer real consequences. Real people have to wake up tomorrow after and process what they did today. What was Abraham thinking the day after that? I almost killed my fucking son. What is wrong with me? What is wrong with me? She's gone, so I'm gonna tell you, after that particular experience, by the way, specifically after thinking about those things, I started thinking about God in general. And I started writing this book called, and I've still got it, I need to put it out. But I started writing this book called The Case to Impeach God. This is during Donald Trump's first impeachment trial. I started writing this book called The Case to Impeach God. And I basically could lay out the same crimes that Donald Trump was getting accused of. I could lay them out on God. But it gave me this like narrative about God. Now, again, this is just a piecemeal narrative. You know, I don't normally do stuff like this, but it's a piecemeal narrative. And it starts with the scripture in Revelation that says, worthy is the Lamb that was slain before the foundation of the world. Okay, it's in Revelation. And that really hit me. He was slain before the foundation of the world. So before there was an earth here, God had a plan. This God had a plan to kill Jesus. Okay. but he needs an alibi. Okay? Because before there was ever an earth, keep this in mind, before there was ever an earth, he had already planned on killing this kid. Okay. So he needs an alibi. Well, how do I make an alibi? I want to kill this guy. How do I get away with it? Well, I guess I could make him the sacrifice for human sin. Wait, how do I get away with that? Well, I need the humans to sin, so I get the serpent in the garden to trick them into sinning, right? And then I'll set up a plan to redeem them with this kid. Okay, this is a good idea. Okay, I get to kill the kid. They think I'm the good guy. I get away with it without a trace, right? But he needs accomplices. So what he does throughout all of the scripture, because you ask this a lot, you say, why did God pick the murderers, the rapists, the worst people? Get it out. So God likes to get away with doing bad things, right? Like killing this kid. He wants to kill this kid. So in order to do it, he goes and finds people and says, hey, I want to do a really bad thing. Are you okay with that? If they say, yeah, I'm okay with that, then he goes, okay, that's my friend. I'm gonna keep him around. So he goes and meets this guy named Noah, and he says, hey, Noah, I want to flood the whole world, kill everybody. Are you okay with that? Noah goes, okay. He goes, okay, good. Here's a boat. Stay on this boat. You'll be fine, right? Because I want to kill everybody. So Noah became his friend. You get down to Abraham. Hey, Abraham, I really want you to kill your kid. Are you okay with that? Abraham goes, shit, yeah, I'll kill a kid. You my friend, you my favorite. I'm gonna start a whole nation off of you, right? I like you, right? Right. And every time he gets to Job, he says, Job, I want to kill all 10 of your kids. Are you okay with that? Oh, God, yeah, whatever you need to do, just get. Oh, that Job, that's my friend. I like him. Yeah. And as a matter of fact, he's like, devil, watch this. I can do all kinds of evil around this guy. He just lets me get away with it. He's never going to say anything bad about me. The devil goes, nah, at some point, he got to leave you alone. Watch. No, he's not. He's not going to watch how much evil I can do. Are you okay with that, Job? Yep. That's my friend. He lets me do evil things. Eventually, he decided to take this worldwide. Because what he really wanted to do since the beginning of the world was kill Jesus. So he marches Jesus out in broad daylight in the center of the world and kills him in front of everybody. And then he asks you, are you okay with that? And if you say yes, you're my friend. If you say no, then I'm going to kill you too. Now that's a really sick story. But you can't tell me I was wrong. Can't tell me I was wrong. Right? Was I wrong about that?
No.
And all because he had really planned on killing this kid before he ever met you. He just needed you to say that's okay. And he found some people who would say that's okay. And if you say that's okay, then now you're his friend. So when I really want to hate gay people, is that okay with you? You're my friend. You're my friend. I really want to abuse women and subjugate them. Is that okay with you? Oh, you're my friend. Right? Because all he ever really wanted to do was get away with doing bad things. And we let him in our minds. And while he's doing all these bad things, just like we did Donald Trump, while he's doing all these bad things, we go, you're so good. I like that. You're so kind. Yeah, I am, Arnold. You're so merciful. Yeah, merciful me. You're my friend. Right? But really all he wanted to do was bad stuff. The petulant little creature. Right? But when we see it, because we're afraid to say, hey, you did a bad thing, because if you tell him you did a bad thing, you're next. Right? So we go, oh, no. See, it's not like that with him. See, he made the law so he can, oh, you're my friend. Look at them defending me. I like that. Just like we did with Donald Trump. Oh, he can take the documents because he's the president. Oh, those are my friends. But you're not a friend if you can't speak truth to power.
Absolutely not.
Right. But all that came from just talking through with my mom, oddly enough, talking through what is it that I see in front of me? Right? What is it that I really see? I see this plan that keeps producing evil and wondering to myself, well, if this is so good, why does it keep producing all this evil? But if I lie to you, will you defend my lie? Yeah, I defend your lie. Good, you're my friend. Well, I flooded the whole earth one time. Yeah. Do you believe that's true? Yeah, I believe that's true. Then you could be my friend. Even if I didn't, if you'll defend that for me, we can be friends. And one day, I'm going to take you to a magical place. Ice cream and gumdrops. But based on his history, I wouldn't believe that. He's probably going to kill you too.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. He likes killing innocent people.
Can't be trusted.
Can't be trusted. All right. And everything I just said is now. If I say that to a Christian, of course they would say, "You're taking it out of context."
Oh yeah, you're taking it completely out of context.
Right. But that's because they're his friend, and it's their job as his friend to defend his evil. That's their job.
Right.
They're yes men, right? They have to defend whatever evil thing he does because I don't want him to do it to me. Right? But if we look at this objectively, oh, you're just a guy who likes to get away with doing bad things. And you want somebody to pat you on your back. And there they are. So then they go out and do bad things and they want us to pat them on the back. Well, where do you think they learned that from? They want to be able to subjugate women and children. And we're just supposed to go, oh, the greater mission is good. Well, where you get that from? Because you follow a God that wants to do bad things. He wants to do bad things. That's just what he. If we read this book front to back, I promise you, he talks about his anger and his wrath way more than he talks about his love.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, he wants to do bad things. Right? Like he likes doing bad. I don't know if you know this, and again, people gonna tell me I'm taking this out of context. And tell me to shut up whenever you're ready, by the way. I talked to you about the actual 10 Commandments, right? Not the 10 Commandments.
Yes.
So the second set of 10 Commandments in Exodus 34, all about sacrificing. And one of them is everything that opens the matrix is mine. In other words, the firstborn of everything belongs to me. You have to kill it, including your sons. Your firstborn son, get rid of him. Now, a lot of people go, oh, that's not true, But then if you go read over in Ezekiel chapter 20, and if you read the scholarly research about it, Ezekiel says, yeah, God gave us commandments by which we shouldn't live, and we was actually giving up our firstborn children. People were actually sacrificing their firstborn children. Now, I know a lot of folks just be like, oh, no, you're taking that out of context. No, I'm really not. They were really sacrificing their firstborn children. It was called the Molech offering. But keep in mind what I told you about the Deuteronomists. I tell you, this is why the JEPD hypothesis is so important. You'll get the Deuteronomists saying, y'all are making these Molech offerings, and most people think that Molech is a different God. That Molech is not a different God. It's a style of offering that was actually made to Yahweh. But the Deuteronomists were saying, this is insane. Why are you killing your children? Why are you doing this? Ezekiel said he gave us some commands by which we couldn't live. Right? Okay. Again, he wants to do bad things. I know. People are like, oh, no. Molech was a god. And bro, Molech was a style of sacrifice. And people used Molech offerings to Yahweh. It was the prophets that said, the priests are lying to you. Stop killing your kids. I know I wasn't supposed to tell y'all that part. I wasn't supposed to tell y'all that part. I know. My bad. But it's true. Right? So Again, he makes his friends by what he can get away with. And as those who are coming away from that ideology, as we pull away from those ideologies, you can imagine you're pulling the covers off of those bad things, and people are like, "No, don't do that, because we got to be able to do bad things." Right. Matter of fact, I'm gonna do a whole study about Molech offerings, because people really think that Molech offers, Molech, the fire to Molech. People think that Molech was some other deity.
Oh.
That's not what that is. Hear me out. That was the prophet saying about those kinds of offerings, this isn't right. Right? God wouldn't want us to do this. God wouldn't want us to do this. Molech offerings were offerings made to Yahweh by fire. And I'm going to show that to you. I got all the scholarly research about it. I will show it to you. People were killing their firstborn sons. Yeah. Because God likes to do bad things.
Well, he's not to be challenged. So he can do whatever he wants, whenever he wants. But unfortunately for him, people like us, we would challenge him.
Absolutely.
We would challenge him. We're not going to sit, fold our hands, and just let God just get away with murder. Enough.
Absolutely.
No, we will tell him about himself.
Yes. And we will tell his children about themselves. Right? Because keep in mind, I don't believe that this God exists.
Absolutely
right?
not.
So these are people who want to do bad things.
Right.
And they want to look at you and say, is that okay? And if you say okay, then you can be their friend. Right? They stylize this God after this. That's why I keep saying that the JEPD hypothesis is so important.
Yes.
It's so important. I really want people to just, if you do not know what this is, go and Google it. Read the JEPD, the JEPD hypothesis. Please find out what this is. Okay? This is gonna, if you're not reading the Bible anymore, that's fine. I understand everybody's at a different place. But if you ever want to just like really unlock the Bible, like just, what is this? Go find out what the JEPD hypothesis is. Understand what you're reading. Who's saying what, when, why, from where? Why does this contradict this? Who's saying this? Who's saying this? What side of the argument are they on? Why are they trying to push this narrative? What? Because we think of this as this one book written by a God. No. This is a bunch of books written by a bunch of different people from a bunch of different political perspectives, right, that we're synchronizing into one story. So of course, you'll find priests who say, I cannot believe y'all, or prophets who say, I cannot believe y'all was offering up your kids. Well, who were they making those offerings with? The priest. You were causing your babies to go through the fire, or you're going after other God. Who writing that? Who's writing that and when? What's the other God? Right? Understand the context. Really get it so that you're not just thinking all the other gods were so bad. Because Asherah was a thing. Get into it. Learn it. If you're really interested, learn it. Right? Asherah was actually Esther's name before it was Esther. Well, it's like Hadassah, but Asher was one of the runoffs of Esther. Yeah. But point being, this ideology of univocality and stripping away the other spiritualities and blah, blah, the political standpoints, blah, blah. We try to like scrape a God out of it, that this is God, right? But no, God is a big mess of socio-political ideas, contradictory thoughts, right? Children, obey your parents and the Lord, for this is right. Honor your father and your mother, that your days may be long on earth, right? But if a man does not hate his father, mother, sister, brother, wife, children, he cannot be my disciple. What? How you? What? See, the same God shouldn't be able to say both of those things. But if there's a bunch of different people in a bunch of different political situations, right? So I think that kind of really, that was like the end, like that's what's got me here, right? It's just like, okay, all right, really deconstruct God, not just Christianity. Deconstruct God. And what does that mean? Take it apart, right? Don't just leave it. A lot of people think that they're deconstructing their Christianity. They're not deconstructing it. They're just exiting, which is fine, right? Exit it. Run and be safe. Stop letting people abuse you. Run and be safe. But if you ever really want to deconstruct it, take it apart. Look at the pieces, right? Look at it layer for layer, right? And you'll see, oh, this is crazy. Look at it in history. Find out about things like the doctrine of discovery. Find out about things like the purity of blood doctrine. Find out how people got to be white. Oh, this is really connected. And I hate to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but this is not conspiracy theory. Find out how white people came to be. I don't mean how people got light skin. I mean why we start calling them white people. When did that happen? Why did that happen? Oh, okay. This is a political. Okay, all right. And once you see, okay, yeah, this is crazy. This is white supremacy that has built itself up to the point of God. So much that they stole it from Jewish people and then told Jewish people they couldn't be white. Which is crazy, right? This is white supremacy on a cosmic level. Yeah, this is misogyny on a cosmic level. Bro, we held slaves under the guise of God until just 1865. Now, I know you're thinking, well, that was a long time ago. It wasn't that long ago, right? We held black people distant from white people. I mean, we still are doing that. But by law, we could do that until 1965 here. That wasn't that long ago. That was only 17 years before I was born. Right? Which means that a person who was graduating high school the year I was born lived in that. Right? All that under the guise of God. Right? Because God likes to do bad things.
Yes.
God likes to get away with his bad things. God likes to be able to do the worst things and get you to agree.
Unchallenged.
But that's just white supremacy. That's what white supremacy likes. Right? I just want to be able to do bad things. That's all. I just want to be able to do bad things to people and not feel bad for it. I don't want you to challenge me on that. I just want to be able to hate the gay people and you leave me alone when I do it. I just want to be able to subjugate and abuse women and children and you leave me alone when I do it. I just want to be able to redline and discriminate against black people and brown people and you leave me alone while I do that. I just want to take immigrants and bust them off to places that they've never been before. And I want somebody to clap for me when I do that. I want to be evil towards people. And I want you to clap for me while I do it. Well, if I just take that and throw God on it, I got theology. I got Islam. I've got Christianity. So,
I've got so many questions, but this question is very important. So my focus on this channel is the African community. Africa is very, very religious. I was introduced to Christianity in Africa, even though I don't live in Africa anymore. But the Africans do religion different. This is my opinion.
okay.
They they just listen to their leaders. They will do anything the leader says. They they don't even question. They've been conditioned to not question. They've been told by the leaders, you are not to there's that scripture that says, touch not my anointed and do my prophet no harm. Right? For some people that is you these men have been placed on this pedestal that they are not to be touched. And so my focus is African people in particular. So my question to you is, why do you think black people, I know some people, today someone said don't call us black people, but just for the purpose of this conversation, um what is it with us and religion?
Mm.
There was something I heard you say. You said, I wrote it down. You said that something about white people see themselves in God. The
Mm.
difference between us and white people, right? I don't know
Uh,
if you can
yeah,
tell us,
I
but
do.
what is it about us, and why do we gravitate towards these beings and these?
Let's. This is going to be kind of a weird answer, and it's going to kind of be all over the place. But I hope it makes sense towards the end. Human life started in Africa. This is not up for debate. This is not up for debate. All human life started in Africa. Every human being on this planet is a descendant of an African. That's not up for debate. I'm not arguing with you. Okay. Africans explored the earth. Think about what I mean. Think about what I'm saying. In order for us to be everywhere now, that means some Africans decided we should go look all over the place, right? Let's go look and see what's out here, right? And so Africans begin to move into different places, and they begin to adapt to their surroundings, and their skin got lighter or different color based on their foods and sun exposure, blah, blah, blah. And then we ended up with what we call white people. But white
Mhm.
people are just Africans that's been gone too long. Okay? We are all one kin. It's a fact. Okay. But to those of us that stayed home, right? Nothing wrong with staying home. Nothing wrong with going abroad. Somebody gonna go abroad. Somebody gonna stay home, right? But to those of us who stayed home, keep in mind, religion is I believe religion is a natural phenomenon. I do not believe that religion is unnatural. I believe it is very natural. Religion was our attempt to understand the world around us. I say all the time that we have what all our mammal cousins have, which is we give things agency that don't necessarily have agency. We see patterns where patterns are not. We see a face in a cloud when it's just a bunch of gas, right? But we can make out a face in it. We can make out a rabbit in that shape, or we can make out, right? We imply order where order is not, right? Well, that's a natural thing, and we needed that to survive because we were small and we were prey to a lot of predators and blah blah blah. So it was important to us to be able to pass along the idea that what you don't understand can kill you. You better learn what's you better not don't trust it. Run if you see it move because it's probably trying to kill you. Okay, so that's a natural instinct. The thing about how we came back to that situation was, if you look at most African traditions, while they are full of like spirits and stuff, like there's some stuff to be scared of. For the most part, it's the person wielding the power that you should be scared of. Like it's the black witch over there that's gonna curse you that you should be scared of, right? The gods, though,
Perfect.
reason, right? Don't fear the gods, fear the person, right? Well, when religion came back, when it came back through violence. And we can't forget that. It came back through violence, and it came back teaching a very hell and brimstone and fiery, and it was at the edge of a sword. So people had fears. For good reason they had fears. right? Yeah, we see Jesus on toast, D. Yeah, that's a good point, right? People have fears, and for good reason they have fears. So I mix this spirituality that has fear of people doing bad things to us with this God that will also do bad things to you. Bloop, bloop, Shannon. Right, okay, now all of a sudden it has created this kind of completely fear-based, control-based ideology. And that got shared, right? That got shared with the African people, right? That got shared with the African people, and it took root in the African people. But keep in mind, I say this all the time: Africa was only 9% Christian 100 years ago. So this wasn't just at the slave trade. The slave trade ended in 1865, and as of 1909, Africa was only 9% Christian. This was on purpose, right? This is a recent flooding of misinformation to African people so that other nations could use those connections to continue to rob African resources. I said what I said, and I'm not going to take it back. I said what I said. But to those who have experienced having a set of superstitions, and somebody comes and hijacks your superstitions and says, "Oh, see, that was Jesus," and if you don't do, okay, I get it, right? But this is a relatively new phenomenon, this Christianity in Africa. It's only within the last 100 years. Again, in 1909, only 9% of Africans were Christians, right? But they had already experienced the Muslim raids, right? These were, again, religions that came to rob people of resources, and they robbed them of their resources through their superstitions because people didn't have the proper tools to be able to say, that's not true, right? You're showing up with new technology. You're showing up with new weapons. You're showing up with new ways to do bad things. And again, I'm telling you, all they want to do is bad things. So if you want to stay alive, then you need to say, okay, you can do the bad things. Right. And that grabs a hold in a culture, as it has grabbed a hold in a lot of West African cultures. But it's just people trying to do bad things. That's all. That's it.
Wow.
And those of us who fear them. Which is why, like the other day we were on with that guy Ezra, I think it was. Yeah, Ezra. And he said, "There's not one single flaw in the Quran." And I go, "Here's one." And he would have to go to his grave before he said I was right. Even though he knew I was right. Because if you don't let God get away with doing bad things, you're next. If you don't let God get away with this lie, you're next. And that's gripped African people. That's gripped people all over the world, but specifically African people. That's gripped Americans and natives and Hispanic people, Latino people, Latina people, Asian people, right? That idea of, if you don't let us get away with doing a bad thing, you're next. It's extortion. What it is.
So guys, if you guys have any questions for Sebastian, so we don't we'll start to wind this down, because I'm sure Sebastian would want to go back and talk to his people. Sebastian has a very wonderful community on TikTok.
That you make great, my love. That you make great.
What?
You make my community great. You make it great.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I just do what I need to do.
And I'm thankful.
When I came away from religion, there was something. I cannot tell you what it was, but there was something. It birthed something in me that I didn't think I had. I wanted to speak. I wanted to tell the world, right? That, look, you see that guy? God, there's no one there.
No, it's not there.
Jesus, all
Not
those
there.
people, Jesus, the Spirit, these, they don't exist. And that passion has not died at all. In fact, it gets better every day. And so when I meet people like yourself, I'm like, yes, I'm doing something right.
You're going the right
Listen,
way.
Sebastian, you realize if I was a Christian, I'd never have met you.
Absolutely not. Or if you would have met me, you would have hated me. you would have hated me. But can you imagine though, Afro, if imagine me walking into, you got two sons, your youngest son. Let's say the day you had your youngest son, and they laid him on your chest in the hospital. And I came and I whispered in his ear, "You are worthless. You deserve death. You do not deserve to live. Anything you do that's good is still not worth anything." What would you think about me?
What would I think about you?
And what would you think about me?
You mean, what will I do to you?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
are not, you're not going to get out of that place unscathed. I would do something to you. How
Something real bad.
fucking dare you?
Something real bad.
How fucking dare you?
Who are you talking to?
And
Who
because
the fuck are you talking to?
my son is autistic. So no, I protect
What if I
him.
said, you're not worthy to approach me. You're worthless. You're defiled. What if I whispered that in his ear the day he was born? Now imagine if you said he's right. Imagine you saying, whispered in your own baby's ear, he's right, you know. Well, that's what it's like to be born a Christian. That's what it means to be born in a Christian household. This is the psychological abuse that we pass along. Why? Because somebody wants to do bad things and get away with them. And that goes against the core. I said this yesterday, and I don't think people get what I mean when I say this. What it means to be a human being, right? What it means to be humane. Think about what the word humane means, okay? Is to have compassion, to be kind, to defer evil. Like this is a part of what humanity is. But nope, that ain't what the scriptures say. None of y'all are good. You're worthless. You're not good. This idea literally strips the humanity from humanity. And we pass it along to our kids. Don't be a human. You're worthless. No, that person's not good. They're worthless. They don't deserve love. They're worthless. This is literally stripping the humanity out of humanity.
God is evil. God
That's
is
an evil.
evil.
That's an evil thing to do.
We've got a question for you. And this is a question from Gerwalk. Gerwalk says, what are your passions? And do you have any thoughts on how to be a better human being, or set examples or lessons for greater humanity to follow, or how you try to be a human being? And what makes you laugh?
I feel like everything makes me laugh. I laugh a lot, right? Like,
Gosh, I've heard you laugh. You've got one very unique My good, it's very unique.
I like to laugh. Plenty of things make me laugh. Life is funny sometimes, right? Sometimes I catch myself laughing at myself just because life is funny. Um, I hope this doesn't take very long, but
Yeah.
my passions are learning. I really like to learn. I love learning. I love to learn new things. I like to share what I'm learning. I like to. Um, I just love learning and sharing what I'm learning. Like I love that. It gets me going, right? But I'm gonna tell you this little story about being a good human being. Okay, so you know how people say, you got a spirit, you got a soul, you got a body, right? I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. But I do believe that human beings are more than just flesh, kind of. Explain what I mean. So I was in Bali a couple years ago, about 5 years ago. I'm down in Bali writing some songs with some people. And there's this girl there, and she's from London, as a matter of fact. Actually, she's from Liverpool. But she used to be a professional model. Then she became a professional soccer player. And now, then at the point where I met her, she was a singer, a professional singer. Just beautiful and better than me, right? Just living a better life than mine, whatever, right? And she happened to be a lesbian. And so we were talking about LGBTQ stuff, and I'm very supportive of the LGBTQIA community. I have a lesbian sister. Blah, 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 blah. And she said to me, "You're not really an ally. You're being performative." And that hurt my feelings so bad. I snapped at her. Oh, y'all know the fuck. And I caught myself. That just didn't feel like me. I caught myself. I apologized profusely. I was like, man, I should go to bed. So I went to my room and I heard my inner voice say, "Hey, get up and go to the bathroom." So I got up, I went to the bathroom, turned the light on. And I'm standing there in the mirror looking at myself. And I say to me, "Why'd you do that?" And I said, then me said, "Because she made me mad." Then I said, "You feel better now?" And me said, "No, not really." Then I completely changed the subject. It's crazy. I said, "Hey, there's this story that you tell all the time and you never tell it right. Why do you tell it that way?" Then me said, "Because I think people will judge me." Then I said, "Can you tell I that story right now?" And me looked into the mirror and tried to tell I that story, but I couldn't. Me started crying. And I said, "Why are you crying? It's just I. I know what happened. You can't tell I?" And me said, "I think you're going to judge me too." Then I said, "Why would I judge you? I was there. I know what happened." And so me said, "Well, the me would like I to forgive me because me didn't trust I." I'm getting to a point here. Just follow the story. Me didn't trust I. Me thought I would judge me. And so I said, "I forgive me." And me and I were cool for a second. Man, a couple years, I'm doing my thing. And every year I go back to Bali. Me would write I a song about whatever me was going through, right? So, but my only rule is me had to be very honest. And it doesn't have to be a good song. They're normally not good. They're normally just a cappella songs. It's just me just getting some thoughts out. Well, this last year I was down in Bali, and I skipped that little routine that I do. Right, I didn't write a song for me, and I was trying to get into my groove. I just could not get into my groove to save my ass. It just wasn't working. And then eventually, I heard a voice in my head again, right, and it said, "Go back to the bathroom." I went back to the bathroom, turned the light on, and then I said to me, "Hey, remember last time we talked?" And me said, "Yeah." "So you remember when you said that you were afraid that I would judge me?" And me said, "Yeah." I said, You were right. I judged the fuck out of me. And me said, what? Yeah, all those negative things that you thought that I said about me, I did say about me. I did think that me was bad. I did think that me was worthless. I did think that me just couldn't do any better. You were right. I did do that because I am judgmental as fuck of me. And me got mad. Not gonna lie, me was mad. But I remembered how me would say things like, oh, I can't believe I did that. I would never do anything like that. Oh, I can't believe, right? That I had been very, very super judgmental of me. And then I said, I would like to ask me to forgive her. I thought about it. Me thought about it and said, okay, I forgive her. And now we're good. We're good. I'm wrapping this story up because I'm telling you what I think it takes to be a better human being. Fast forward a couple months later, I'm in San Diego. And I'm telling somebody else this story that I'm telling you right now. Right. And as I'm telling them that story, I hear a voice say, hey, go back to the bathroom. I'm like, oh my goodness, what did I do wrong now? What did I do? So I go into the bathroom, turn the light on, and it feels like I don't hear anything, but it just feels like someone's trying to get my attention. It just feels like I'm trying to. And then I finally say to me, oh, that's yourself. And I kind of envisioned myself as this little like puppy. Right. It looked all malnourished in my mind, just wasn't taken care of. And then I said to me, yeah, it was our job to take care of and protect this one. He doesn't talk. He just barks when he feels things. And then I said, you remember that day we first met when that girl made you mad and you snapped and you said, that's not like me. You were right. That was yourself because you hadn't taken good care of it. So it got snappy. And I said, do you know I stopped listening to myself years ago? I hadn't listened to myself in so long. I had neglected myself for so long because I thought myself was wrong. I thought myself held no value. You know how long ago I stopped listening to me or myself? And you're telling me that I was supposed to take care of this? I feel horrible about that now. And from that day, I decided that me and I would take care of myself and listen to myself and trust myself. And since I decided to take care of myself, I decided to take care of yourself. And listen to you and honor you because you have a self too. And I think that made me a better person. Right? Because the golden rule kicked in. It really made sense for the first time ever. Treat somebody else's self how you treat yourself. But if I treat myself with contempt, then what do you think I'm going to do to yourself? If I think that myself is not worthy, what do you think I think about yourself? Right? But once I see myself as a worthy of love individual that needs to be loved and cared for, then all of a sudden, that's what I think about selves. It gives me my humanity back. I hope that was a good answer to that question. Sorry for being so long.
Oh no, listen, I can have you go on and on and on, and I appreciate that answer. Another question from, let's see, I'm not sure if this is a question. Sebastian, what do you know about the agnostics? It says, I asked Sebastian what to. I think
Oh,
it is a
about
question.
the
What do
agnostics
you know?
or the Gnostics?
It says the agnostics.
Agnosticism is a statement about what we know. Um, uh, Theism is a statement about what we believe, right? So agnostics are people who just say, I do not know of a God. I am not convinced of a God. I do not know. I cannot demonstrate for you a God. As an atheist, I'm saying I do not believe that there is one either.
Mm-hmm.
What's so crazy is most Christians are honestly agnostic. They do not know that there is a God. They could not demonstrate one, but they believe that there is one. Um, some Christians claim to be Gnostic in their belief, but they cannot demonstrate it. So really, they're still agnostic. It would probably be more honest for them to call themselves agnostic because they cannot demonstrate one. So yeah, that's what I know about agnostics.
Right. Just one more question.
Yeah.
From Honey Crowns. Please ask Sebastian, how does he know what sources to trust, especially as there are lots of misinformation and falsifying of historical facts, given that the Bible is all a lie?
I tell you what you do. If you're still interested in the Bible, the best thing to do is skip all the preachers, go to the scholars. If you're still interested, skip the preachers,
Hmm.
go to the scholars, and look to the scholar. Now, and the scholars are they still have their biases, fair enough, right? But I feel like especially if you can find like a
But Ehrman?
Bart Ehrman, and Bart, his interviews get on my nerves sometimes because he's kind of goofy, but his papers are great,
Right.
right? Kip Davis,
Oh, Kip
um,
Davis. Yeah, just stumbled across him not too long ago on Myth Vision.
Myth Vision, yeah, his papers are great. And once you get into that circle, you'll hear about others, right? And I mean,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
don't fear Christian sources. I'm not saying fear, but they're scholarly sources. But once you kind of get yourself a base as like, okay, this is what I expect from research. This is what good research. Dan McLennan, I think he
Oh,
is
yes.
great.
Sam McCann, yes.
And he is a believer, but he is going to give you scholarship. Now
Mm,
you'll see
mm,
his
mm.
devotion creep in sometimes, but you can tell the difference between okay, that's Dan being a devotee versus this is the information, right? And you'll kind of develop a stomach for, and it gets kind of boring sometimes, but you know, as you learn it, it's like okay, I'm learning how to catch this little piece, and I'm learning how to use this, and it's really a lot of fun. Um, Piecing together an understanding. Yeah. Yeah.
So, one last question.
Mhm.
Ask question, can a guy really live inside a dog? Yeah. Dog is one
What's
of my
so funny
favorite
is,
people.
as big as whales are, as big as whales are, they have very small esophaguses. Most whales eat krill, little bitty small shrimp, right? Little bitty small fish. That whale would have choked and died. And yeah, he would have choked and died, and Jonah would have choked in there with him and drowned. It would have
So
been just
the
about as bad as the submersive the other day.
I mean that story when I went and read it again, it says that God provided the fish. So God stopped that fish from doing its fishly things. God violated the fish's free will,
Fuck that fish.
right? And God says, no, I need you to come swallow this guy for three
Fuck
days.
that fish, bro.
No, because, I mean, if the fish had a family, if the fish had its own little community, the
If the
fish
fish had to
is
take a shit,
forced to be gone for 3 days because God
constipated,
needed the fish.
constipated for 3 days, couldn't take a shit because you can't pass a Jonah out of your butthole. Then end up throwing up to get Jonah out. Poor fish.
Let me tell you. Right, I think that's all the questions for now. So Sebastian, where can people find you?
You can find me in St. Louis rolling on dubs. I'm just kidding. You can find me on TikTok at the Sebastian Kole. You can find me on
I'm going to
Instagram.
put I'm going to put your while you're talking, I'm going to put your links. And just so you know, you have a YouTube channel.
Oh, I do have. I just don't ever use it. You're right. I do have one.
You have at least over 7,000
I guess I
followers
should probably use it, huh?
on
Maybe I,
YouTube.
yeah,
It's all just your music.
yeah. Maybe I'll put something else on there. Okay, all right, cool. So I got a YouTube
Yeah,
channel.
you do have a YouTube channel, so I
All
will put
right, I
your
got a
links
YouTube channel.
in the
All right,
chat. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, you can find me everywhere pretty much as Sebastian Kole, all one word. But right now, I want you to follow me on Twitch under the name
Yes, I'm gonna put.
4A underscore E.
I'm doing that now. I'm putting it
Yes.
in the chat
Uh,
now.
4AE is
Tell us about 4AE.
4AE is the African American agnostic atheist experience. And it's me and my good friend Justin, also known as Average Justin or Everyday Atheist on TikTok, and we are delving into these kinds of topics. So I'm promoting that right now. Make sure you join the Patreon. It's only $3 a month, and we're gonna have all kinds of stuff to give our patrons. We want to make that the best thing ever. Yeah, as a matter of fact, there's a new app called Spill that you might not even be hip to yet, but when you hear about it, follow me on there too. I'm still
What's
Sebastian
that?
Kole.
What's it called?
It's called Spill. I don't even know if it's officially launched yet. They gave me early access to it,
Oh,
but
nice.
it'll be out in a minute. Yeah, so follow me there. I got a lot of big projects coming up that I will keep you guys updated on. I actually have a TV show that I'm in the works on right now.
Oh, how nice.
Still early, but I'm working on it. A cartoon that I'm working on. Lots of music. So you guys will see me. Hopefully, I won't be that hard to find. But make sure you follow me on TikTok if you don't already, and come chat with me. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Yeah.
So Doug reckons that you have a Fresh Prince, Uncle Phil vibe going on, and they like it.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. Yeah.
So, guys, I mean, Sebastian goes live on TikTok nearly every day,
Yep.
right? Am I right in
Yep.
saying that?
Yep. Every day I try to get on. I mean, today I started a little late, but I try to get on about 8 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, which is I think 2 o'clock. No. Think you guys are 8 hours ahead of me. So 4 o'clock in London. I think, yeah, 4 o'clock p.m. in London.
Yes.
I try to get on around that time. I try to bring up a new topic every day. And the goal is just to get us thinking about theology, get us thinking about what makes sense to us. We challenge some beliefs. Sometimes we agree about some things. Sometimes we disagree. It's a lot of fun.
Right. So
And then I get off of mine and I go and listen to Esther, the Afro-Atheist, every day because she starts right around the time I end. So I get off and I go listen to her while I go to work, and I try to chime in on that for the most part. But yeah, I listen to her every day.
And you're not working when you come on there, are you?
Sometimes, yeah.
Oh goodness. Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
sometimes I'm working. So like if you see me, like I have to get off real quick and I'm doing something in the studio or something, or I just get on, get off because I'm trying to get work done.
Right. And some of your regulars, they're here. I can see Willie. I can see Candy. I can
Willie,
see.
Candy.
Right. I mean, your crew. They absolutely love you.
I
Absolutely
have the
love
best
you. You
guest
have.
on the internet.
You do. You
I
do.
really do.
There's before I let you go, and I just want you to just when we have conversations with people, especially the people who are on the opposite side, the tendency is for you to want to be aggressive or to not show empathy because now you've come away and it's all false, right? What
Mm-hmm.
they believe, there is no truth to it. But then there's a way you do your conversations. You show empathy to that person. You come down to that person's level, and there's just something about how you have conversations because I want to promote better conversations. Don't get me wrong, sometimes I get in my feelings. There are some subjects that will get me in my feelings. Number
Yeah,
one,
me too.
slavery. Number two, children. Anything to do with justifying actions against children.
That's crazy.
Um, Women,
Yeah.
right? Anything that has to, when the subjugation of women, that will always, always, always get me. And so, but how do we promote better conversations with people on the opposite side?
Man, um, again, I think that one of the things that makes us human is empathy. And I know that I'm not far removed from anybody I've spoken to, right? There was a time in which I believed everything that they believed. There's a time in which I understood life the same way that they understand it. And so what I try to do, and this doesn't always work. As a matter of fact, I don't know if it works ever. But what I hope to do, because they want to come combat me, is I try to get them down to their logical knot, right? Just to the place where, like today on the live, when they got down to what was the guy named Larry Wanya, when he said it's wrong for you
Yes.
to discriminate against women because they're equals. And then I said, well, why is that not true in church?
Hmm.
That moment is so important to me. That moment is the moment that I'm living for. Because at that point they've had to say out loud something that's stupid, and I'm hoping that that resounds in their ears until they untie that knot, because there's only one logical way to do it, right? So I'm trying to get people to get to that point. So I try to talk to them. I don't like to let them run around. Hey, no, 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 stick with me. Stick on this question. I need you to answer this question, right? I don't, all the dancing ain't necessary, because what people tend to do is they feel themselves coming to that point, so they want to jump to something else, right? It's like, no, 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 no. Just let it happen. Come on, come on. Let's get to this. And once we get to this, you're going to say something that you think is dumb. Like, you're going to say something that you think is dumb. And that's where I want people to be when they have to ask, why do I believe that? Well, that doesn't make sense to me,
Hmm.
right? But as long as we're arguing, then they got man, Christian apologists, man, they got combos. Like, they got a response for everything, right? But once you make them stop dancing, then boil it down to one thing, then it's like, oh, that doesn't make sense to me. And that's exactly where I try to get them. So I try to treat them with um, I try to treat them with dignity and respect, because the moment I do anything outside of that, then I'm an angry atheist, you know. And now I lost the whole conversation. They could go back to their corners and say, "Oh yeah, I know atheists, they just be angry all the time." But if I have you on tape saying women are equal, but they just aren't equal to God, well, now I don't know what else to tell you. Okay, you go home and deal with that, because that's not on me. Right. So that's why I treat them that way. And it's just in my heart to be kind to people. It's free to be kind, and I don't have to be angry with folk. And it's more entertaining to be like. I'm sure we would have had a whole lot more people on this live if we were arguing, right? It's entertaining to be, because it's got so much color to it. But it's free to be kind,
Hmm.
and I want to always be that example of kindness, um, because it's people watching me, right? Like, it's people watching me, and there are women watching me, and children watching me, and other men watching me, and people who agree with me and disagree, and I want them to see a good character of a human being, right? Because if I'm the atheist, then I'm the ambassador for atheism, and I take that job pretty good. Yeah.
So, on a very final note, can I play one of your songs for the folks?
Sure, sure.
Okay, it's
Sure.
only it's only 2 minutes long.
Okay.
So, guys, this is one of Sebastian's songs. I've put the link to his YouTube. You can find all his music on there. His talent is, gosh, amazing, amazing. Right, let's do this here.
Do we have to?
Yes, we have to. We have to. Right, here we go. You can tell I've been listening to it.
I
Let's see.
see. What song is this? I can't even. Oh,
Hang
it's
on,
Stretch
it's
Marks.
coming.
Okay.
Yes. Is it going to play?
See, the internet don't want it. The internet does
It's
not
coming.
want
It's
this.
coming. Can you guys see
I
it?
love you stretch marks and all. I love you stretch marks and all. I love you stretch marks and all. I love you stretch marks and all. Love you and all your flaw, baby girl, cause they're not flaws at all. I love you stretch marks and 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 all. Love you and all your flaw, baby girl, cause they're not flaws at all. I love you stretch marks and all. I love you stretch. It's the filter for the internet, no, I'm not into that. There ain't nothing quite as perfect as when you lay across my lap. Gray sweat, needs serenity, and get haired up. And I know why you got stressed, my baby, cause that ass fat. You ain't gotta be perfect, but you're perfect for me. Hair down with no makeup on is working for me. I know you've been working out to see how far you can be. I know, I know, I know, I know. I love you stretch marks and all. 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 Love you and all your flaws, baby girl, cause they're not flaws at all. I love you stretch marks and 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 all. Love you and all your flaws, baby girl, cause they're not flaws at all. I love you stretch marks and all. I love you stretch. I might put my love on top cause you my Beyonce. Fine enough to turn your finance to my fiance. You turn every pair of booty shorts to leak alright. Need some diamonds for my diamond, baby, lease alright. Yeah, wear your shorts, show your booty, ate them. I'm a free, so I appreciate it. I don't see nobody better, baby. I don't see nobody better, baby. Walking in, she a 10, make them hate more than hate cause she motivated. We make love, then I know I made it. Making love, so I know we made it. I love your stress marks and all. 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 Love you and all of your flaws, baby girl, cause they not flaws at all. I love your stress marks and all. I love your stress marks and all. Yeah. You been thinking about your IG. I just want your body bite me. 100 buns is what I see. 100 buns is what I see. Set it up, get it up, wet it up, look it down with the ice. Wet it up, coming forward with it up. I'ma give you what you like. I love you stretch marks and all. 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 Love you and all of your flaws, baby girl, cause they not flaws at all. I love you stretch marks and 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 all. Love you and all of your flaws, baby girl, cause they're not flaws at all. I love you stretch marks and all. I love you stretch marks and all.
Well, that was fun, wasn't it?
Wow. I tell you.
Well, that was fun.
Ooh. There's a reason why that song is one of my favorites. Because listen, stretch marks, yes, stretch marks and all. I was like, yes.
Love that.
Someone loves stretch marks. How nice.
Love
Right,
that.
guys. Listen. Are you going to be on TikTok now? Are you going to
Yeah,
turn on
I'm gonna
your
do a decompress from the earlier one, and then I'm gonna get out of the way and listen to what everybody else has to say. I just, I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna get out of the way and enjoy the rest of the Sunday. I'm gonna go get in my pool. Gonna go swim a bit.
enjoy?
Yeah.
Thank you
Thank you
so
so much
much.
for having me. I can't
Thank
say
you.
thank you enough. I appreciate
Thank you
all that
so
you do.
much.
Thank
Yes,
you so much.
the pleasure is all mine. I appreciate it. Right, everyone, make sure to subscribe. Make sure that you leave a like, and I'm also on TikTok, the Afro Atheist, same name. I try to keep it the same name so people you don't you don't get it wrong. So yeah, guys, I'm not going live tonight. Saying that it's late, but we can just have a quick conversation. But whatever the case, we'll see what happens. But listen, everyone, thank you all so much. Dog, I see you. Quan, I see you, Robin. See you, Her Organics LLC. I see you, Kelly, Jimmy. See
Wait,
you all.
while we're speaking to people, can I ask you, will you do what I just did for you, for me on my page?
Absolutely.
Like now, though.
Okay.
Okay. All right. That'll be great. I'd love to hear it. See
So
you guys in a minute,
is
man.
that on TikTok?
On TikTok.
Right. Okay, everyone. I will see you over there then. Bye.